Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat. It is January the 11th, about 5 p.m. It's getting dark outside. So grab something to drink. I have some homemade iced coffee, and let's get into it. It's more of a chatty thing today. I think I've I've got all these whips, and you guys are sorry. I don't mean to say you guys. You all have seen quite a few of them back and forth and back and forth. My Haruno, I think that's how you say it, Haruno cardigan, I have done from the top down to the lace work at the bottom. I've done like 3-4 inches of that lace work, realized it was all messed up, taken it out, restarted it, taken it out. Now I'm restarting it again. And I figured out that it was the stitch count was off for some reason after I did the braid that separates the top from the bottom. And I don't understand how, because I had the correct stitch count after the braid or before the braid. I did the braid as it was written, and then I was about 13 stitches off after the braid. So I think I've gotten that worked out now so that I can continue on it. I'll just go ahead and show it. Since I'm talking about it, I might as well. It's in my cute little hand basket here that I got when Joann's, rest in peace, went out of business. So right here, I had the stitch count. Oh goodness, that was awful. I had the stitch count correct all the way down to this braid. You can barely see it. I did the braid in the same color yarn as the top. And then I picked up in the different colored yarn. And this is my variegated yarn that I'm using from, who's it from? I don't know. I don't see the tag anywhere. Anyway, that's my variegated yarn that I'm doing. Well, there's like 2 setup rows here, and that's where I realized after the 3rd time that I took it out that the stitch count was off. So I just, because it's the beginning of the setup, I went in and just added the stitches with like knit front backs. And am going that route. Don't know if it's going to help anything or not, because y'all, if it doesn't work out this time, I'm considering not doing the lace work at the bottom. I don't understand. I can read charts. I was doing great, but something kept getting off. Once it got thrown off, and that's what it was the stitch count wasn't right, and I was getting thrown off. Okay, enough about that. That is the pain in my rear project right now. One of them, because come to find out, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to take my button box throw back as well. And while we're sitting here, this is my knitting journal that I'm using now. It's really cute. It says, pardon my French, a collection of uncensored thoughts journal. There's going to be some uncensored thoughts. But as you see, like, I'm just putting the date that I start something. This is my pattern for this. What I'm doing, this is the button box throw right here. And I started with this and putting the pattern, doing the pattern in on different things because I wanted the pattern for my stuff. And you see all these little eyelets all along the row here? Well, on mine, I misread at the beginning and I only did the eyelets at the corner. So I have to go all the way back to color 2, the beginning row of color 2, and I don't have it in here because it's in timeout. I'm like 15% done on this pattern, and I've got to take all of those rows out and redo them because when I read it, I didn't read it correctly. I read it to do the yarn over and make the eyelet, but I didn't see that it has it marked. It doesn't say to continue that until the end of the row. It just has an asterisk after that. And to do the eyelet, there's an asterisk, and then it just says to 1 stitch before the marker. And, you know, I was so excited to get that one started, and I had cute yarn and all this other stuff, and now I'm just like, I have to take it all the way back. And I did not even notice it until I was watching the Skein Scoop, the Skein Yarn Shop from Rhode Island. Their podcast, this latest one. Justine was showing hers, and I saw the eyelets all the way across the row, and I was like, what? Mine doesn't look like that. Okay. I did not read the pattern correctly. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to take it back and I'm going to say, okay, it is time for me to slow down. I have so many patterns going, so many knits going, that maybe that's just it. I just need to work on 1 or 2 at a time. Anyway, okay. I went straight on into the rough stuff, didn't I? I was going to show you my finished objects, but first I have way back when I went to Flock Fiber Festival, August 8th of 2025. I got some yarn that was I used pickle for the green. And where's my tag for the main color? The main color is a Fiber Hustle yarn. I have all these tags here. Please tell me it's going to be in here. Yep, Fiber Hustle, Normie and the Jets, fingering weight. That's it right there. Oh, where's it at? Is it going to? Kind of. Anyway, I bought that, and I got that day we were walking around Seattle. Sorry, I dropped something. walking around Seattle, went down and visited the Pike Place Market and all that kind of stuff. After a day of the Yarny Festival, just to get some sightseeing in, basically, like you do when you're places you don't get to go very often. I used to go there quite often when I lived up there. Or, well, I wouldn't say quite often. Every 6 months or so, at times, just go spend the day. But I got that yarn and I made shorties out of it, and it's a 64 stitch count with a 12 round cuff, and then I did 1 round of purl, and then I did a 30 round leg in the main color, and then I cut in a heel. So on August the 11th, I had finished those on August the 17th. On August 11th, I saw that I was going to have way more of the main color yarn. So I started another pair of shorties, and then they sat in a bag for a very long time. Well, I told you last time that I finished them, and here they are. This is the Normie and the Jets main color, and I used a scrap yellow that I had in my stash, and I followed the same pattern. It's a 64 stitch vanilla sock with a 12 round cuff. I did 1 round of purl, and then I started with main color. I did 30 rounds for the leg. This one I did a heel flap and gusset, and then I added the toe. These got finished on December the 26th. I started them August the 11th. That's how long they sat in a bag. And basically what they did was they sat at work in a bag on my desk, waiting for me to pick them up during a meeting and knit on them. And did I do it? No. Did I take other socks and work on them? Yes. So there you go. That's my, I guess you can call it my dirty little secret with that pair. But they're finished. I didn't have them in here last week because I finished them. I laid them on the coffee table, and believe it or not, they just sat there. So I washed them, I blocked them, and I brought them to show you. So now I have 2 pair, out of the same main color, but the heel, toe, and cuff on the other one is the green, and this one is the yellow. And I think those colors, it's almost the same color green that you see here, that darker green that the other one's in. And then you can see the yellow pops in this one come out more with the yellow. And the green sticks out more with the green. So, those are done. Yay! That pair was done right before the end of the year, so I'm not counting them on this year. This year, so far, it's the 11th of January. I get Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad. I got the first one for January already. And that's it's a full skein and a 20 gram mini skein, so that's 120 grams in. And I got that at the end of December, and I got nothing else in yarn wise. So I do have a finished pair of socks. These are my percolated socks. This is a Woolens and Nosh self-striping yarn here. This is Malabrigo in the color 142 Caramel. I did that for the cuff and for the heel and the very tip of the toe because I really didn't have a whole lot left over as far as the mini went after doing the heel flap and gusset. I think I had more than I thought because when I split the two yarns into, because I did these in tandem, which I did them on 9-inch circulars, I had a skein, half the skein for one sock and the other half for the other sock, and then I split the 20-gram mini into 10 grams a piece, and for some reason I thought I was doing it, but I didn't, and I realized that my scale was sitting on top of a small journal where I had it sitting. I didn't realize something was underneath it, and it throws the weight off. So it threw the weight off on that, and so I thought that I was getting them the same for the stripes, and I didn't. But you know what? They're pretty. This yarn was, the percolated yarn was gifted to me from the La Mercier from Bainbridge Island. They do a sock set swap at Christmas time. And I signed up for that, and the person sent me this color, and I had the caramel color, and I thought, oh my God, they were just made for each other. So there you go. And you can see it right here. This is the brownish color that's in the sock right here that's closest to it. And then this is the caramel. And I think they match so well. Anyway, I finished those last night. Let's look at the page in the book for those. Did I do a page in the book? I'm pretty sure I did. I know I did. So right here, there's no pattern, as you see. Right here, this is the end of my pressed flowers pattern, pressed flowers cardigan pattern. So I did this with the Woolens and Nosh Targhee in the color percolated. That comes 411 yards for 100 grams fingering. I did the Malabrigo Ultimate Sock Mini and the fingering, which was caramel number 142. I used US 1 Chagu needles on 9-inch circular, and I did the gusset and the toe using a US 1 Chagu doing magic loop. I did the German twisted cast on for 68 stitches on these socks because I want to see the difference. And with these, I did the knit 3 purl 1 all the way around. I did it on the cuff, as you can see, and then I just carried on with the main color. I did 15 rounds for the cuff. I did 60 rounds for the leg, and then I did 1 extra round, so it was 61 stitches for the leg. And then I started my heel flap and gusset, and I did a longer heel flap. I did something like 20 knit stitch count here. and I picked up like 22 on the side. And then I did a 50 round foot before I started my decreases. So we'll see how that goes. I just wanted to see the fit between the 64 stitch and the 68 stitch. And then here I have my little bag like I was talking about that's on here with some washi tape. It's just a plain little bag. I have my yarn labels and a little bit of each of the yarns in there. So that's that. I started those on December the 29th on a Monday, and I finished them yesterday, well, last night, which was January 10th, and that was a Saturday. I like to put the day. I don't know why. Probably because the day is on the listing up here. Like, it asks you what day of the week it was. So that was cool. It was rather nice to get something off. So my Farmer Daughter fiber yarn set, sock set, was about 120 grams, and that weighs about 120 grams. I think it was 120 or 121. I wrote it down. The next thing is my pedal drop socks that I started January the 1st, and they're not finished. That was my only other finished object that I wanted to show you. But since I was talking about the Sock Squad sock set, I wanted to show you what I'm doing with that. But first, I wanted to add the sticker into the page here just because it says, just let me finish one more row. And that's how I felt all day. So I finished the percolated socks last night before I went to bed. And then today I got up and I went down and I thought, okay, I took 3 projects downstairs to work on today. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do a repeat on the leg of the sock, and then I'm going to pick up one of the other projects and I'm going to do a couple of rows or a repeat or whatever, and I'm just going to switch throughout the day, right? No. I had some things to do, so I didn't sit down to work on it until 10 o'clock this morning. And I did not stop until about 4:15 this afternoon. And I was thinking all day, I was like, I haven't worked on any of my other projects. I haven't done anything else. I wonder if I want to do a podcast today. Do I want to wait until next week and go back to it every 2 weeks? But all day long on these socks, it was, oh, I'll just do one more row, or it was really, I'll just finish this repeat. And then I'd get to the end of the repeat. It's a 8-row repeat. And when I got to the end of the repeat, I was like, nah, I'm going to do one more repeat. Well, then I started saying, oh, just one more row, because I got to the heel flap. Here it is. I'm so silly. Right? So this has a 1x1 twisted rib. I do not like. I do not like that at all. Look how it looks all slanted. It looks slanted this way to me, but to you it's slanted this way. I don't like that look. I keep wanting to straighten it up, and no matter how I do it, it does not straighten it up. So I do not like that. I don't mind doing a 1x1 rib, but that twisted rib is just not something that I enjoy. I was gonna see if there was a picture here. There kind of is. But yeah, I don't like that at all. This is handmade by Florence, the pedal drop socks. Here's a picture of a finished pair. I have the leg of this one done, and then I have the heel flap, and I am about to start the heel turn, and I'm gonna kind of put my hand in there and see if I can stretch it out a little bit for you to see. It's gonna be a really cute lace pattern. Once it's blocked, it'll look better. But yeah, I started those on the 1st of January. And that's just one sock done. I'm doing these one at a time. And I will show you. I have them in this cute little bag. It's A Nightmare Before Christmas. It says love you to death. And it's got Sally and Jack on it. And it's like a little makeup bag from Walmart. Make perfect sock bags, I have to say. Perfect. Because I have the sock and the pattern. And there's the yarn. This is called Deep Winter. It's the January Sock Club color. Sock Squad. And then I have my little notions box, my ruler, and a little pair of scissors all down in there. And it's cute. And it was cheap. It's like a $5 bag. So, heck yeah. The next thing that I have is a crochet pattern that I'm doing. It's by the Iron Lamb. It's called the Midnight Beach Top. I started it yesterday. And I'm using Cascade Yarns Anthem DK and an Unknown DK variegated with a crochet hook size G. And I'm making the size extra large. The one that I showed you in the pattern picture is made out of a cotton acrylic blend. I'm using stash yarn. This is what I have so far. I have a lot of ends to weave in. But, I mean, you can get the gist of it. That's it. It's kind of a charcoal color. Does it have a color name? That's the Cascade Yarns Anthem DK. It's color number 58. You probably can't see any of that because everything is weird with the lighting. And then this is the Stash DK that I have that I'm using for all of the multicolored. If I was to stop right now, it would be a what was it? A size small or extra small. But you just kind of keep building around for the front, and it's done and pieced. But that was really cute. I kind of saw that Grocery Girls was showing her patterns the other day, the Iron Lamb, and I was looking on Ravelry and I saw that and I thought that is really cute. So, yeah. And then my pressed flowers cardigan is the next thing, but honestly, I did the ribbing. I did the first, I want to say 4 rows of the chart for the body because it's bottom up. And I'm using fingering weight yarn instead of sport weight or DK, sport DK, I think. And I got to looking at it and I was like, I should have went up to the last size. So I started out making the next to the last size. Which would have finished out as a 69-inch bust. So I took it out and I went up to a 74-inch. It goes from a 37 to a 74. So I restarted it, and when I restarted it, I wasn't thinking it's a 1x1 rib, and I did a 2x2 rib, and I was halfway through the rib, and I'm not taking it out again. That's 400 and something stitches on the needle, and I'm not doing it. But what made me think about it was I was going to use the fluff from Les Garçons, and I was using it across, and I got to the flower, and I was doing the flower, and I didn't like it. It's just too much. So now I can either use the fluff going through until I get to the flower and use a different yarn there, and make the flowers different or something of the effect. But I was also holding a sequin, the lace weight sequin Lang palette with it, and I didn't like it. It was too much. It was fine in the body of the sweater, but when it got to that flower, if you've ever seen the pressed flower hat or cardigan or whatever, it's just too much in that little space. And I had started the hat back months and months ago, over a year ago, because I got that fluff yarn at Flock Fiber in 2024, and I brought it home and I started the pressed flowers hat, and I was doing that with the hat, and I'd stopped working on the hat, and I didn't realize why I had stopped working on the hat, and I had only done one flower repeat on the hat before I stopped working on it. And then I realized that's why, is because it was ugly. So now I'm at the point where whenever I get done with the ribbing, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I really like the fluff in the body part. I just don't like it where the flowers themselves are. So I'm thinking about just adding a different yarn right there, or just using a different yarn through the whole thing. That's my thoughts and my opinions, and that's everything I have to show. That is it. So I'm gonna go now, and it is dark here in Oregon. Oregon in the Willamette Valley, and it's dinner time, and I'm probably going to get the heel turn and start working on the gusset on my socks because, I mean, I got the sticker in, just one more row on that sock. And if I don't work on the socks again tonight, I'm probably going to take my button box throw out and, well, not, I'm going to take it back to that first row of the second color, which is a lot of work. I think I've gotten that much done on it since then. Maybe more. So we'll see. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. If you're watching this when it goes up, I don't know when it'll go live. I don't know if it'll be today, tomorrow, not sure what. Hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you again in a week or two. Bye.